Good day. Today we're going to get out the Woodland Scenics rock molds, and I'm also going to try some molds using tin foil. And then once they're created, then we're going to start gluing and start building the mountain face. So let's get at it. All right, I'm going to make some rock molds. This is my collection. What I'm looking for is something that doesn't, so I can show, it doesn't stick out very far, because it's going to be for the face of the mountain, and I don't have a lot of room for the stuff to protrude out, so I need something thin. So this I think will work. All right, this one's kind of iffy. A little bit maybe too big. I'm going to hold off on that one. This is the one I know. I use this a lot. The other one's it's one of my favorite ones. And what I do is fill a cup up all the way up. Then other ones I'll fill halfway. I might tilt it to get it. And you break them up, and when you put Sculptamold around them, it changes, you know, so that's a good one. This one I'll probably use a lot too, because this is, I don't know if you can see, there are a lot of small, narrow, and that's what I'm going to have a lot of. And it is a little deep, as you can see, but same thing. I don't have to fill them all the way up, so that'll drop it down. So that's another good one. This one's one of my favorites on the HO, but see, it's too thick for what I need for here. Especially this one. Look at this one. That's really deep. This one might work a little bit. That's got some of all the different little ones in it, if you can see. All in here. That'll be a good one. There's another one. It's got some small ones in it, and this is not too thick. Another bunch of little ones will work. Fill them halfway and so forth. That's another good one. Not very deep. This may be iffy. I'll hold off on it, take it out for now. Same thing for this one. Most of it's flat except for this little section here. There's another good one. Got a couple little ones. And there's a bunch of little ones, fillers. I call them fillers. I may use this. It's got a bunch of little ones. I'm going to hold off for right now. Same thing for this. I might be able to use that somewhere else, but it's a little too deep right now. These are real thin little ones. I'm sure I'll use these somewhere. I'll be making some of them. Some are really thin. So right now I'm not going to get into that. All right, actually, there's more than I thought I would be able to use for right now. All right. And I'm going to have to go to the box store, because what Plaster of Paris I had, it gets old. Had it for like 2 years or so sitting on the concrete floor. It gets hard after a while, just moisture and so forth. So, but these will be it. And then once I get the Plaster of Paris, we'll set these up. You should, well, I'll show you when we get ready to do it. So, but we'll get started. All right, got my Plaster of Paris, and I got it mixed up. Squirting a little water in here so it doesn't stick. Could be a little bit thinner. Usually I'll make it this thick. Next batch I'll make thinner. All right, be right back. I'm gonna make up some more. All right, got more here. This is better. Setting up already. All right, this will be a partial mold. Shake them around a little bit to get some of the air bubbles out. As I said, this was too thick, and actually I let it sit a little bit. Well, this stuff, you only got about 5 minutes of that, and it starts getting hard. That's what happened with me there. All right, let me clean this thing out before it gets too hard. All right, so while these are setting up, these are they're almost ready to get out of the mold already. But now what I do is, this is 2 old boxes I cut down. And I just went out and got some dirt, actually from my old G-scale garden railroad outside. And then the sand is better because you can settle it down a lot better. This takes a little bit, but it just helps support it. As you can see, they're kind of flimsy. I'm going to be able to get one in here. All right. All right, I'm going to mix up a little bit more. And then we'll see about these. These are still not quite. I mean, you can wait till it gets hard. You can leave them overnight. And, I mean, you get them out. If I'm making a lot, I kind of rush them. I'll pop them out. So, all right, back. Okay. This one I definitely want. Little one. I want some of these little ones here, fillers. right. I think I'll just get a partial on this one. That's what I'll do a lot of times. Sometimes I'll tilt them up and just fill one half of it or the side. It just changes the effect of them. And a lot of times too, when I take these off, they break because sometimes I'll break them up and flip them around in just different ways. And so it doesn't look the same. So you get a lot more different effects with just, you know, some of the molds. It's still really hot. It's still green. I'm not going to push it. Probably what I want to do today. Just want to see if I could get one out just to show you, but it's a long one. This would probably break if I try to get it out. Oh, here it goes. There we are. One part of the face of the mountain. All right, I'll take that on the other side. So that's it. I'm going to let the rest of these dry. I'll come back in a half hour or so and pop them out. And this might be enough to get me started so I can see what I'm going to do. No sense mixing up and wasting a lot of plaster of Paris. All right, so there we are. All right, so here's some of them. They're finished up. Look like something like rock. And here's one. It's the one I only did a partial. I'll have to do one full so you kind of get the idea how it just changes up a little bit. Even though everything's there, when you flip them around and move them, you know, not have them right next to each other, you're not going to know. So that's it for now. We're getting ready to put them on the layout. All right, here's another thing. We'll try making a rock face. I tried tin foil on the HO scale, and it got a good effect, but it looked like fake to me for some reason. I did use over there. I could probably show you, but it's kind of hidden. But I think it was too, even though it had all the crevices, it was like too smooth or something. Just what made it look fake. But I think I have an idea what I'm going to try to do is once I pour and I take it out, I could take some sandpaper and like sand the edges and make them rounder. Maybe I'll take one of my wire brushes and brush around and make it rougher. I want to see how that looks. Because with tinfoil like this, I'm happy with it, I could form it to whatever I need to fit a spot or whatever, which would really work great. So that last one, I think I just crumbled up and then spread it out. But I want to try to make this like, if you see some of the lines, like where they cut it. I don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to try it. So I did one just like this. I folded it up. Kind of crumbled around a little bit. So I probably the tinfoil really sticks together. There we go. Now, a little edge on it. I'm going to Plaster of Paris in somewhat. Something of that sorts. I don't know if you can see it or not, but now as big as this is, when I try to take this apart, it's going to break, which is fine. Actually, I was always so worried before with the other forms, I was worried about when they broke. But after, to be honest with you, when some broke and I used it, I kind of like them when they're in pieces. And you can plug them in different ways and blend them in with the Sculptamold. So I'm not worried about this. Comes in pieces, that's fine. I gotta go put this in the dirt thing, my little box of dirt. I'm gonna have to dig the hole because I can't just push this down because I flatten it out. And I'll set that in the hole. And I already got, so let me move everything into the back shop and I'll get some Plaster of Paris made up and we'll pour this one. Hold on. All right, this is the first of the tinfoil form. You can see, like when I did before in the HO, see like all this here, it was like too smooth. When I even put the paint on it, didn't want to grab in. Now, I mean, this is still green. I actually want to rub it over with my hand to try to dull some of the sharp edges off. I took a little screwdriver and just went around trying to scribe some different lines. I tried this little brush, steel brush, but it makes too close lines. I don't really particularly like that. So I tried a little saw blade here, and just kind of like went along different places. It seemed to do something. I mean, it gave it a little bit of marks. And I know you're probably not going to be able to see it, but so I'm going to let it dry completely, and I'm going, like I said, I'm going to sand it. Maybe take a blade and just try to put some more lines and stuff in it. And hopefully just roughen up with sandpaper or whatever will, the paint will hear better and see what it looks like. I mean, it's not bad. It's, you know, I kind of like it. It kind of gave it that, where they tried cutting it, you know. So, I mean, I could do it this way too. It doesn't really matter, but I'll probably do it this way. I'm thinking this is going to be behind the coal mine in the corner. I'll show you when I get over there, when I get all these forms done. And one thing with the tinfoil, I mean, when you take it off, you're going to ruin that piece of tinfoil. So, I'm trying to save it. What happens is, I don't know if you can see it right in here. Silver, but right in here, there's a couple other pieces where the tinfoil really folds, and then the Plaster of Paris, being, you know, watery, gets in there. Then when it dries, it kind of, when you take it, pull the tinfoil off, it sticks in there. You just got to go in there, a pair of tweezers, and pull it out. Oh, there you go. No big deal. Little piece down here. Well, that's it. We'll let this dry and see how it goes. I got another. I made another one, and that I ran out of Plaster of Paris already. So I had some hydrocal. I made the other one out of hydrocal. We'll see how that one comes out, and see how it is scribed and stuff. So, well, there we go. All right, we're moving along. All right, back on the mountain here. Those rock forms I made out of tinfoil, they were quite big, so I cut them in half. And what I want to do is, I'm going to put them like this. So just show like the man-made, you know, they cut the face of the mountain back so they could get the building and so forth. Then up here, I put this foam in because I don't want to have a corner of a mountain, so I have to kind of kill that corner. So I put this foam board in here. And then what it's going to be is the coal mine, when it sits up here, this is the tunnel that goes through, the conveyor belt that goes from the mine and brings the coal down in here. So I'm going to set that up in here on this shelf a little bit, and I'll probably try to get something like scale wood and make like a little frame around it. And then build this up. This will be a little bit thicker here. Somewhat my game plan. So what I'm going to do now is glue these faces on here. And then I'll let them dry. Usually on the other mountain, I would just put a nice thick layer of Sculptamold and then push the rock form into it when it's settled, and then it lets it ooze out, and then I would just scribe it. But I don't have enough room for all of this in here, so I'm just going to take liquid nails and glue these on, and then I'll have to come back with Sculptamold and fill in and try to make it so it doesn't look like pieces, so it's kind of like all one piece. And then, like I said, then I'll come up with some more rock molds and Sculptamold and see what I can do up here. Maybe make it a little bit thicker, maybe, you know, ½ inch or something. So it look like they cut the face and then they left the rest of the mountain up. That's my game plan right now. I'm just not thrilled with just having a flat, thin face. I just don't like vertical things, but it's going to have to be because I don't have the room. I can't, you know. I mean, I could have put another mountain in here, but then I wouldn't have the building, and it's more, you're not going to see the track. Bad enough I got this section here that's, you don't see the track, it's in the mountain. So that's where we're at with that. So I'm going to get this glued in, and then we'll go from there. All right, the one thing I said about doing these rock molds with the tin foil is it kind of looked kind of fake. It was, I think what it was is because there was too much smooth surface. And when I tried to put the paint and the washes on it, it didn't grab into it, and it just looked fake. So what I thought I would try doing is I took one of my blades and I just scribed lines and picked and gouged any like the real flat, smooth surfaces parts. And then I took a Scotch pad and run it over, try to dull down the sharp edges and places where I gouge it, try to feather and smooth it out and just make it a little bit rougher surface. It looks pretty good. I'm kind of happy with it. This one I already did. I know you're not going to be able to see it. I don't know if I can get it up close enough. You might be able to see like some of the marks and grooves. Now this is the one I haven't done yet. And you see how like all this smooth areas stuff, I started doing a little bit before, a couple places, but that's what happens when they wash and stuff. It doesn't grab, it just kind of goes over and it looks fake. So hopefully doing this, when I go to put the stain and washer on, it doesn't look so fake. So I'm going to take the gamble and glue everything on there and then try doing the washes. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. The other one over there, the HO, I did the two different grays, a lighter or darker gray, and then did the black wash. I think I don't want to do the same thing as I did on the HO, so I may try to do this maybe a little bit more browner. I might put a gray, light gray on it first, and then take not a real light wash, but a medium to a heavier wash of some kind of brown, and maybe then try taking a real thin black wash over it and see what it does. I gotta see, I gotta practice on it. So I did make one more mold of the from the tin foil. So I'm gonna take a piece off of that and play around with it and see if I can come up with something. So that's the other thing on this here. We'll see how this technique comes out, how I like it or not. All right. All right, that's a couple hours here. So I got that one side done and got the hole there for the mine shaft. I got my little wooden frame I put in there. So, looks a little bit better than it did earlier. There's that side. Starting to come along. Starting to get into it now. Seeing something that's not too bad. All right. I had to make more small pieces. I kind of pretty much used them all up. I only got a few left. So I made more molds. Next I'll do this side here. So stay tuned. What I'm doing over here now is I made more small rock molds. So now I'm going around trying to get pieces to fit in these little holes here between the bigger rock forms, like here. Got a cup up in here. So now what I'll do is I'll mix up some Sculptamold and put a little bit, push in there, and then push these on, and then scribe everything, smooth around. And I usually clean out my mixing bowl, and I come back, and then the Sculptamold is setting up, and then I'll take my my knives here, and I'll start scribing the sculpting mold to try to get it to blend into the other rocks and so forth. That's the game plan. So I'm going to go and mix up a handful of sculpting mold and start working on this area, working my way down. And then I have this form here. I'm probably going to get my wire knife, hot wire knife, and probably cut these edges off a little bit. Start building this up somewhat. Then I got to decide what I'm going to do over here. You can't really see it down here, but the tunnel portals. Got to decide what I'm going to do with that. All right, so let me go mix up some sculpting mold. All right. Start down here. Stick some sculpting mold in there. You kind of get the idea. Just push it around. Try not to manhandle too much because you don't want the sculpting mold to get too flat. You would like it to have that little roughish look to it. Then you can finish doing it with scribing it in. All right, a little bit more here. Gotta keep moving on because this sculpting mold don't sit around too long. It's already starting to set up. A little tough working here, can't see too good. All right, this is setting up. I'm going to do no more. Clean the bowl and come back and scribe this. All right, see if we can get some of this set in here. What I try to do is somewhat match what rock it's next to that I'm doing. You just don't want it real smooth. Just want to rough it up and blend it in. Usually after I take the knife and mark it up a little bit, I take my finger just to take the sharp edges off. All right, so you kind of get the idea. Not rocket science or anything like that. No real rhyme or reason. All right, so I'm going to finish this up. We'll go down this side and we'll come back. All right, well, finally I got this mountain face done. I wasn't thrilled about. I mean, it's okay. I think once I get it painted and get some vegetation and stuff on it, it won't be too bad, hopefully. So came out a little bit better than what my fears were going to be, was going to look like. But there's where the coal mine shaft is going to go up in there. And then over here, I did this little section here. This will be I'll have a lot of like brush and trees and so forth. And I started working on the one portal. Came out and I'm pleased with that, kind of happy. Kind of got a game plan somewhat what I'm going to do in this corner here anyhow. Now I'm going to go over this section. I got to finish that corner. And I'm probably going to work on those tunnel portals there. And I have an idea right there. Where this is right here. I may make a mount, like cover this, have a tunnel portal wheel in here. Just have the mount not tied, just come up over this way when I have the road coming from the coal mine, come around, come across here, and then I'll have it come down, and then I don't know what I'm going to have here. It's going to be, you know, somewhat of a town, some buildings or so forth. And then also, what I did over here is right in here, I got to make the hole a little bit deeper. I'm going to have a little bit of water coming down. It's going to sit in this little trough here. Then I think I'm going to have like a drainage pipe, have it come down underneath, and then a little creek sort of wind somewhere around till it finally gets out into the water. That's a game plan I got right now, so it's in my head. But now I'm going to start concentrate working on that over there. And I'm still trying to get some kind of paint scheme that I'm going to use on the rock and everything. I just don't really want to use the same paint scheme I did on the HO. I just want to change up so it's just something different if I can. If I find something I'm somewhat happy with. But so the landscaping is officially started. It's been a couple days since I worked on this here. It's pretty much dried up now, so as soon as I figure out what I'm going to do, what kind of washes, I can get started on that. Meantime, I kept looking at this, and I want to try to dull down this height of this being just so massive. So instead of just coming up and then like this, I want to try to not hide it, but I want to dull it down. So what I decided I'm going to do, I got this road, I had to come over here somewhere and get it down to go have some kind of place to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tunnel, make this a little bit of a mountain, and I have this here. Going to be the ramp. So the road will come across, come over here, and then I'm going to put this in here for right now, if I can figure. So it'll come up and over, come down, around. This will go in here. Come down around, and I don't know where I'm going to go yet, so I'm only going to do this section up in here. What I'm going to do is I got to build this up a little bit. So I'm going to take a piece of this. I'm going to cut that and bring that in this area. Build this up, you know, so this way it'll come down and I'll cut it. That'll raise this up and give me a little more area in here. I'm going to put a little building. Right now I have a small engine repair, just a small little building. So just put something in here. And then I'm going to just stack this up like this and this. Mold this, maybe put a couple rock, pieces, rock face on it. Put some trees so it'll kind of like dull this height down, but it won't be blocking. It's just the trees, you'll be able to see it from different areas. And I think what I'm going to do in this area over here also, I'm going to try to cut this back as far as I can, take this square edge off without getting into the tunnel. And then I'll put some trees along here too, so you'll be able to see through it, but it'll just take some of that height out of it. So it'll be a gradual up. I might add, make this a little bit higher over here. I'm not sure yet. Take a little bit at a time. So that's where I'm at now. So I just ballasted the track where it's inside the tunnel. So I want to let that dry so I can clean the track and make sure everything's good with that. Then I'll start gluing this in, and then I might do the sculpting mode. I'm not sure if I'm going to glue it in yet, or if I'm going to, once I want to get my washers and get this painted. Then I think I'm going to work on the diorama for the coal mine and get that in here before I get too much stuff in front of it. Get that and get glued down. Then I can work on the road. I can start working on these portals and doing this in here, do this section. Work my way around a little bit. Probably maybe jump over to that side, the other side of the tunnel, and the portals over there a little bit. Until I decide what I'm going to do in here, I got to research some buildings, whatever I'm going to put in here, see what'll fit. So that's a game plan for now. So starting to get into it a little bit now. Probably could be better once I get this this all painted, washed up. And then it'll really, I think it'll start taking effect. I'll be happy once I start putting some vegetation and stuff in here. Hopefully. Because right now I'm not all too thrilled with it, but we'll see. I came up with something as a washes I somewhat kind of like. It's growing on me. Still got to dry and everything here, but we'll see. So I'm trying a little different. Usually I take the paint in a cup and dilute it and then wash it. This time I'm dipping it in here, putting it on, and dipping in a thing of water and kind of diluting and spreading around. See how it is. So like here, this is the second color I'm putting on there. Kind of dab it around a little bit. And take some water, dilute it, let it wash down. That looks good. Put some more. And I'm using separate brushes for each color. When I was first trying, I was using one brush and it was mixing it up too much, and I didn't like that. So this seems to be working out better. I can control the different shades a little bit better. And then I go to the next third color. And each color gets a little bit darker. And I think I see over here when it totally dries, if there's some place I don't like, I think I'm going to try to go with the different shades I have and just do a little dry brushing, like something I kind of don't like. I want to change it a little bit because I don't want it all uniform. You want to have like blotches of different shades, and like, you know, because you got different lines in it. And then the final color, this is a burnt umber. Like here, seems like it's a little light, so maybe I would use this dark umber and try to darken that X up a little bit. Now, if you get too much, just dilute it. Just have to go back and put the other textures, the other shades back on. So that's pretty much it. So I'm going to continue on with that and let it totally dry. And I think I'm going to try on my experimental one. I took a real thin black wash and just let it run and darken some of the highlights and so forth. So I'm going to try it on this too. And then once that all dries, then I'll start landscaping. That's what will kind of really bring it around. But I'm kind of starting to like the face a little bit. So it's coming along. And these are the different paints I'm using. The folk art, it's a linen and the apple barrel. We have a country tan apple barrel. We have a brown oxide. I hope I can still get that. I don't know if they discontinued that. And apple barrel's burnt umber, which I have plenty of that, and that's not a discontinue. But that's the different ones I was using, and then like I said, I'll just use the jet black, whatever, to do a little highlighting. All right, so I got it all the different browns and stuff, it's all done. Well, I'm kind of happy with it. Something what I had picture in my mind, but the browns and all, just it still looks like new or fake or something. Well, which it is, but I mean, it just doesn't. So I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but if you look on this end right over here, you can see where I'm starting to do it with a real thin black wash. I just like the way it just tones down the browns and makes it more like dirty. Looks more, to me, looks a little bit more natural. I'll show you in a minute here, doing some, see if I can get around like the middle of that there so you can see it. But you can see that side looks a little darker. It just tones everything down. I mean, it's still wet, so it still has to dry. Especially that black wash, it really looks different when it's totally dry. It's usually not as pronounced and so forth. So that's what I'm doing right now. So hold on and I'll show you a little bit of it. Here's a bowl of black wash. Just putting it on, dabbing it, make sure it just gets everything covered. I don't want to be rubbing it because I don't want to be taking any of the other brown stuff off. You can kind of get the idea. I probably could have even made this a little bit more thinned out, because you can always just, you know, go over and, again, to darken it up. That's my problem that I did on the other one. I always think I got it too watered down, and then it comes out a little bit darker, but that's basically how I was going to do. I'm going to finish this, and then I'll dry, and that's pretty much done. I'm going to start working on the diorama, but while I'm also doing that, once it's all dry, I'm going to start putting the vegetation, especially in this area, because when the coal mine goes on, and it's going to be a little tough to try to get back there. So I want to get this corner pretty much vegetation, most of it. And then I can put the diorama in, and then I can finish doing the rest of it. And I'll start working on this area. Once I get the diorama in, then I'm going to put this section back on. All right, so we're moving along. Okay, so I did it all with the black wash. I really do like it. It just seems like it makes it not so fake. Like those brown textures all look neat and everything, but it just seems too fake. It just not natural. The black just, I don't know, gives it that earthy, rugged look. I really like it. So So next will be to start putting some vegetation stuff on it. So there is my mountain face. Okay, that's going to do it for today. So if you could, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps me a lot. I really appreciate it. And any comments, I really do like having the comments. So like I said, that'll be it for today. We got a lot done, made the molds, glued them, did some Sculptamold, came up with a paint wash, washed all that on. So next we will start working on diorama. And like I said, we're going to try to do some of the vegetation in that corner behind the diorama. So that'll be the next things coming up. So until the next time we meet,